when we bring you the budget, because we're working on the priorities first, implementation tool next. Increased infrastructure asset management, West Side Park improvements. Please leave your money in Gardner. We're going to create more opportunities for you to leave your money in Gardner, hopefully at the concession stand, because then you're buying it from us. $636,000. Aquatic Center, $544,600. The budget development proceeds in phases. First, you establish priorities, what we're doing tonight. We then move towards developing the implementation tools, and then we identify capital projects. If you recall, back in April, we got an update on the financial status provided by our finance director. Currently, we have citywide property tax values up 5%. City sales tax up 3%. County sales tax up 4%. This has got to be the most significant time in the history of our organization. Why? Our reserves look good. The development of plans, we're creating a vision. We have the comprehensive plan. We're working on a capital improvements plan. We have an economic development strategic plan. We have the pieces coming together that will position Gardner for the next 30 years. And we have an improvement in our local and national economy. So budget 2015, our roadmap for building this community. Your priorities will determine our initiatives. Building community is important for attracting businesses, for making Gardner a place of choice for businesses and residents, for fostering a sense of place where people want to live, work, and play. And very importantly, a place where people want to stay. And you've heard me say this before. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. We have an opportunity to identify our destination and take Gardner down a path worth taking to a destination filled with promise and opportunity. We have an opportunity to truly make a positive impact and leave a lasting legacy for the city of Gardner. Together, we can go far. What we need from you tonight is your assistance in establishing priorities. What you have on the screen before you are the projects we discussed. What we're getting ready to distribute is a hard copy. We're going to ask you for your assistance in determining the top 3 projects. All of these projects are important and have merit, but we can't produce them all at once. So we're looking for consensus from you tonight on what your top 3 priorities are. And before we ask you to do that, I want to entertain any questions, Mr. Mayor, about anything that's presented, and then we'll talk about how we'd like to facilitate getting priorities for this evening.
Question.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Going back to the downtown portion, the downtown lighting. Just the amount of, let's go back to the numbers, not the slides there. There we go.
Yes.
And
I'm sorry, did you say lighting?
That's one, yeah.
Okay.
Right there. So about $260,000 for downtown decorative lighting. Does that also include burying the utilities, getting rid of some of the overhead power that's in that area?
We're actually working with the electric division of Southern on it. Working with the electric division, they were willing to, obviously working with the city, donate labor and their boring equipment to help us in the process.
Okay. Because that will definitely help the visual impression of the city. People come in, at least overhead lines crisscrossing the downtown area. Also, there's a hazard involved with some of those lines as well. So it'd be nice to have those buried. included within that 260,000.
Okay?
Anyone else? Larry, you have any questions?
Yeah, and your comment that residential doesn't pay for itself. I mean, there are communities where houses are, you know, $300,000-$400,000 where it does. I mean, they don't have industry, they don't have warehouses. Prairie Village is one that comes to mind, Leewood, Westwood, places like that. So, I mean, it is possible if you get, you know, the housing to go up in value and people to stick around long enough to buy a second and third tier house, and as long as those people have disposable income, you know, the retail offshoot does kind of pay its way, doesn't it?
The retail offshoot, you are correct. That's the retail component, not the residential component. The services that you need to provide to a residential use versus what you provide to a retail, for the tax, retail or non-residential pays the way.
Right.
So you're right, the retail follows rooftops. So
Right.
you want the residential component because the businesses are not going to commit to coming to your community unless you have a sufficient amount of retail.
Right, and retail's not gonna come to the community if there's not a sufficient amount of disposable income, right? So I mean.
That is correct.
So I
So
guess.
it serves as a magnet or an attraction for retail development.
Right.
You are correct.
And then I guess what, consideration has been given to the, you mentioned the downtown and the gateway, areas, and we've already, in some ways, defined the gateway with five-star trucking, and then recently, I just read that, the asphalt and, quarry in Edgerton is gonna produce 1 truck a minute going through 56 Highway. So where are we on that? And then of course, you also take into account that, KDOT can't wait, is my understanding, to give away 56 Highway and do a bypass when the money's available. So where does all that figure into this?
I don't think I can speak to the asphalt plant in Edgerton for you, but here's what I can speak to. Our gateway, when you get off the interstate, lacks distinction. So we haven't really looked at it, we haven't really defined it, we haven't really defined what our main street, our corridor is going to look like. We have businesses, but we haven't defined or developed something that will help to stimulate an investment in additional businesses in our downtown area.
I don't have a question, but I did want to make a comment. When Laura passes out the sheets, I've got a little something that I'm going to add. I
Okay.
talked with the chairman of the Finance Committee for Divine Mercy Parish about the disposition of the church property that's owned over on Warren Street, between the Center and Elm. And that is property that is currently for sale.
Okay.
That's the church, which could be used for a myriad of activities. The rectory, but the community, the parish center, which has an upstairs that could host receptions, meetings, things of that nature, and has a downstairs that's separated into classrooms that would be probably good for Parks and Rec type activities, as well as the Youth Leadership Council initiatives that we're talking about, plus a green lot at the corner of Elm and Warren Street. And I think that that's something. They're going to be opening the new parish center April or so next year. They're going to need to be able to access their current facilities until then. But what I'm hearing from their finance committee is that they're not in they haven't made the decision exactly what they want to do yet. They want to sell it, but once they make